Well, let's not be certain that that's the case, but it's definitely looking like it. You never know with the minute differences in terms of the vote for the SPD and the CDU, whether there might not end up being another grand coalition. But as it stands, the preferred option for the SPD is a coalition government with the Greens and the neoliberal FDB party. And though that, again, might not work out because the FDP tried to join the last government and it failed in its negotiating terms. And we got the government that is now leaving office.
Let's talk about Scholz. What are some of the first things we might see coming out of his chancellorship if he is indeed to stand at the head of this vast country?
The interesting thing about Scholz is that his victory came out of nowhere. Nobody saw him polling so well as he did. And a big part of that is because of disaffection with the CDU over how it handled the COVID crisis. And also with public concern about the rise of the extreme right during the crisis, particularly the Querdenken, who were openly anti-Semitic, as well as the AfD continuing to play a prominent role in the national political conversation. So what we expect from Scholz in Germany is someone who will create a more hospitable political environment for the country as a whole and restore a sense of calm. Merkel was simply unable to do that throughout the COVID crisis. But otherwise, not much is expected. He was Merkel's, ally and right-hand man under the previous government, and the general consensus among most German political analysts is the SPD is just going to run an SPD version of the last government.
And what is your take on what we saw coming out of the polls? Like in the U.S., after long presidentships, people want change and usually switch sides.
It's the big discussion going on right now in Europe is whether Europe is going through a social democratic turn as a whole. A left-wing government was elected in Norway recently. A communist mayor was just elected in Graz, Austria. There's a center-left government running Spain as well as Portugal. A decade of neoliberal, austerity-friendly governments may have brought about a public desire for a more socialist, center-left politics in general in Europe, and Germany being the most influential and leading political light in Europe obviously would glob onto that, particularly given the crisis of the COVID period.